Vandami Bandi and good evening everyone. Good morning for everyone in West Hemisphere. Welcome to the lesson on 7 stages of purification, part 9, Ditthivisuddhi. I'm Emma. I'm the meeting co-host who will be helping Bandi and everyone in today's session. May we invite Bandi to start the teaching, and may we invite the interpreter Bandi to start the translation. Sādhu, Sādhu, Sādhu.
So we will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. So today we can start the chapter of Ditthivisuddhi. In the Ditthivisuddhi, we have very simple things to be started with. That is continuations of previous Dhamma talk, the 4 elements. As we have already talked about the 4 elements in my previous talk, you may have known that the 4 elements are the foundations of Vipassana. When we can discern the 4 elements, it can be samatha, it also can be the foundations of Vipassana. So we have 2 different methods, 4 elements in brief and 4 elements in detail. Today, I will start with brief method. We don't have enough time to explain in detail. That's why I have to move the next sections. So when we talk about Ditthivisuddhi, that means purifications of view. We must purify our view, which means we must be able to overcome wrong views by discerning ultimate mentalities and materialities. When we can discern ultimate mentalities and materialities in detail, also when we can discern thoroughly, we can overcome identity view. There is no everlasting identity or there is no everlasting entity in this body. If we can know like this, we can overcome the wrong view. That's called Ditthivisuddhi. But here we have systematic practice taught by the Buddha. As we have explained the 4 elements in our previous talks, you have known the nature of 4 elements in the body. We also have already talked about the rupa kalapas in this body. This body is made of small particles. In every single particles, there are 4 elements. We have to discern all these elements systematically. So I have already talked about the rupa kalapas in the body. How we start seeing the rupa kalapas. So that means after designing 4 elements thoroughly, we can see translucent body like an ice pack, or maybe like a glass, looking glass, or like any kind of translucency or like crystal. We can see, when we can see the space element on it, we can start seeing the particles. Although we can see the particles, keep discerning 4 elements on it, like a hardness, roughness, heaviness, softness, smoothness, lightness as earth elements. The flowing and cohesion, water element, heat and cold, fire element, supporting and pushing, wind element. We can discern group by group like this. We can also discern overview from our shoulder downwards. So after that, we have to discern one element, for example, hardness in one single kalpas, hardness in all rupa kalpas overall, and also hardness in one rupa kalpas. Then hardness and roughness two together in all rupa kalpas, hardness and roughness two together in one rupa kalpas. After discerning like this, we must be able to discern all the elements, especially 4 elements in one kalpas. But there will be some exceptions. For example, when we can discern hardness, there cannot be softness. These two are opposite. Similarly, when we can discern smoothness, there cannot be roughness. When we can discern heaviness, there cannot be lightness. Because these two, all of them are opposite. That is why they cannot arise together. Similarly, heat and cold cannot arise at the same time. It will be exception when we are going to discern 4 elements in one single kalpas. So anyway, when we can see rupa kalpas, there are 2 types of particles. The first one is translucent particles. This is made of this, especially this kind of particle can be found all over the body. But not all of them are translucent particles. There is the next type, untranslucent particles. We also say non-translucent particles. What do they look like? It will be different according to their colors in the kalpas. So if we have different body parts, we have different color. For example, our skins and blood, sinew, bone, we have different colors. Similarly, the particles have different colors. That is why if we see translucent particles, like white color particles, then it can be like diamond or like a translucent or like transparent. We can see small particles. Then if untranslucent, it can be white color like a paper, just normal white color. It can be 2 different types having the same color. But similarly, when we have like a black color, red color, yellow color, it can be different. Like translucent kalpas and untranslucent kalpas. So when we can discern, we can differentiate translucent and untranslucent kalpas, we also have the next steps to discern. In one single kalpas, whether it's translucent or untranslucent, we have already talked about the 4 elements. There will be 4 elements in it. Okay, this is example of the kalpas, right? It doesn't mean it's all the way white or like this. So 4 elements in the kalpas. It can be every kalpas. In every single kalpas, there will be 4 elements. Then moreover, there must be color. I have said we have different colors in the different body parts. We have to know all these kalpas. We also have to know the different types of colors in the body. So there will be the color of kalpas. We have to try to know it, try to differentiate it. Then again, smell. I think you have already known what will be smell in this body. Different body parts may have different smell. For example, hair, it will be smell. Then similarly, body hair, there's a smell. In the skin, there's a smell. Different body parts, different smell. We also have to know the smell. So for about color, as soon as we start discerning 4 elements or discerning colors, we can see the colors. It's easier. But what about smell? Not that much easy. For somebody, it will be easy. They can easily know the smell in the body. They can discern smell in the colors easily. But if we have difficulty to know the smell of the colors or particles, we have to use our nostril and also mind toe. Using nostril and mind toe, what we call heart base together, we can discern smell of colors nearby. After that, we can keep discerning smell of other colors all over the body. So in brief, we have to know the smell of colors. Then again, flavor. There will be different flavor and different colors. Now we have to discern flavor in the colors. There are some meditators, they can discern easily. There are also some meditators, they cannot discern easily. As we have already mentioned, in the smell, we can also use our tongue to know the flavor. We can also discern tongue and mind together, discerning the rupa kalpas nearby, the flavor of rupa kalpas nearby. After that, we can know the flavor of rupa kalpas, the particles. Then finally, we have nutritive essence. This is a kind of materialities that can sustain coexisting materialities, corporeality. So all these nature, all these characteristics will arise at the same time in the kalpas. So nutritive essence will support or maintain the lifestyle of all these characteristics of materialities in the same kalpas. There's another function of nutritive essence. It also can produce new generations. Here anyway, we must know the nutritive essence of rupa kalpas. There's nutriment in every single kalpas. So this is the first steps we have to know. In every single particles, there will be earth element, water element, fire element, wind element, color, smell, flavor, and nutritive essence. This is smallest grouping materialities. In every single small things, even smaller, the finest particles, there will be these 8, according to Buddha's teaching. So, when we can know all these 8 in every single things, we can break down the perceptions of self or soul, everlasting entity. Okay, now we have to say, another thing, sorry. You may see this fruit, right? Durian. In durian, when we touch, we can feel roughness, right? Is it a little bit gross, roughness? If we lift it, can be heaviness, right? Then we can also see hardness in it. So this is the earth element. So you can also see flowing cohesion in the durian. This is a water element. It can be heat, it can be cool. This is a fire element. This is supporting and pushing. If you press, it will push you back. One element. So there's a 4 elements in durian. There's a symbol. We can see the color. We can also smell. We can also taste. There's a nutriment in durian. So this is very big object. We can see it, we can feel it, we can know it. But what about very small things? The swine. There are many, many small particles of dust. Very, very finest dust, very fine particles in the swine. There will be hardness in it. There can be hardness, softness, lightness, or any of 6 of earth elements. Although there's one of the 6 characteristics of earth elements, we can say this is earth element. So there will be water element because of cohesion. They are particles. Then again, fire elements, there can be heat and cold in it. There can be wind elements, supporting or pushing in it. So we can see the color of the particles. Then there we also can experience the smell, the flavor. Then you may have a question, is there any nutriment in the swine? Yes, there is. Some insects eat the swine. For example, termites eat the swine. Earthworm eats swine. Because of nutriments they can eat. They like it, they eat it. If there's no nutriment, they may not eat it. So these 8 materialities will be in every single particles. The smaller groups. We cannot separate it. So if there's a 1, it will be 8 altogether. We cannot separate one of these 8. There's only an element, no other 7. We cannot do like this. All these 8 will arise everywhere. The smallest grouping. So if we can know particles in this body, if we can discern all these 8 elements in this body, this is a very basic discernment. Then we have to divide into 6 groups when we are going to discern brief meditation methods, especially discerning 4 elements in brief. Okay, now here, living beings, insects, right? In the insect also, you can see there will be 4 elements, the color, the smell, the flavor, the nutritive essence. So every single thing we have to discern. After that, okay, we'll go next one, karma-born materialities. Yeah, we have to know different causes of materialities. Later we have to talk about that. But now here, there are some materiality in this body, they are produced by karma. There are some materialities, they are produced by mind. There are some materialities, some kalpas produced by nutriment. There are some kalpas produced by temperature. These are the causes of materialities. Now we will start with karma-born materialities produced by karma. So there will be, as we have said before, we can divide into 6 doors. The first one is iron doors. Second one, ear doors. The third, nose door. The fourth, tongue door. The fifth is body door. The 6th is, the last one is mind door, heart base or heart materialities. So in every karma produced materialities, how many materialities in the kalapas? We have to know the 4 elements. As we have said before, it can be in every single kalapas, then color, smell, flavor, nutritive essence. This 8 can be in any kalapas, we have already said. They can also be in karma produce materialities. Then there will be some additional materialities, life faculty. So we have life. We are alive. Our materiality are also alive. Why are we still alive? Because of these materialities. Life faculty is also like sustainment. It can sustain the life span of materialities. So, previously, nutriment, it also can sustain, also can produce new generation. The life faculty will not produce new generations. It can sustain lifespan. It will support coexistent materialities in the same kalapas. So the main is the vital force of materialities in the kalapas. Altogether, there will be 9 at least in the karma-born materialities. Then from door to door, it will be different. That means we have different body doors, there will be different materialities. Okay, now we have to add a few more. Sorry, the one is translucency. As we have already talked about translucency in the very beginning, we have translucent kalapas in this body. In every single translucent kalapas, there is a translucency. What kind of translucency are there in this body? So we have iron translucency. It can be only in the eyes, by which we can see the color, the form, the shape. So in our previous teaching, that means when we talk about mental process, we have already talked about how we see the object, right? There must be iron consciousness, there must be the color, there must be the light, there can be iron translucency, base and the object, the intentions, and the light. If we have all these situations, all these conditions, we can see. Similarly, iron translucency, it will arise only in the eyes. It cannot arise in other body parts. So when there's a color, visible objects, very clear, it will impinge on the iron translucency. The iron consciousness will arise. Then this is called iron contact. Iron contact will arise. So that means there is a base. Base means iron translucency. There's the object, the color or the shape or the form. Then there is mind or the consciousness, iron consciousness. Then if these three arise, there will be iron contact. Chaku sampasa. It will arise. Okay, the main thing is here, I would like to talk about the nature of iron translucency. It can be the foundations of, it can be impinged by the color or the shape. So we can know, we can differentiate the color, the shape, the form. This is because of mind and materialities working together. So again, we have ear translucency. Actually, we have known where is the ear translucency, right? Only in the ear, they can arise. We can hear the sound because of ear translucency. If our ear translucency is good, we can hear. If our ear translucency is not really very good, we cannot hear clearly. It depends on our karma. So again, we also have to know something. Then there must be ear translucency. There must be audible object or sounds objects. Then there must be ear consciousness. When these three arise, there will be ear contact. So the nature of ear translucency is the foundations of the sound. We can also say it is impinged by sound or the audible object. As we have learned in the very beginning of Abhidhamma talks, in the chapter 1, when we hear, there must be sounds, there must be ear translucency, there must be space between the sounds and ear. If we block the space, we cannot hear anymore. Then there must be mind or intentions, manasika. When we have all these things, we can see, also we can hear. This is what we call hearing. But the main thing is, ear translucency is impinged by the sounds or audible objects. Then again, nose translucency. It can be only in the nose. We can smell different things because of nose translucency. If our nose translucency is not really very good, we cannot smell. When we have very good nose translucency, we can smell easily. So when we are going to smell also, there must be odor or smell objects. Then there must be the mind, nose consciousness. Now, when these three arise, there will be nose contact. So here, if we make it short, nose translucency is impinged by smell of the odor. Then we can know it by the mind, by consciousness. Then there will be the mental process. Here, the main things that we have to know, nose translucency, the foundations of smell, and also the nostril mental process. So that means it is impinged by smell. The next one, tongue translucency. It will be only in the tongue. We can know the taste. When we touch something. So it can know the flavor of the taste. So when we have very good tongue translucency, we can taste well. If we don't have good tongue translucency, we cannot know very well. So there must be flavor, there must be tongue translucency, there must be tongue consciousness, then there will be tongue contact, then there will be mental process. Then we also have to know tongue translucency is impinged by the flavor. We also have some special condition here. So there is a abami waterness or water element. So if the food is dry, we cannot know the taste easily. If the food is wet, we can know the taste easily. This is called apa, water element. So again, we also have to know these four translucency. Eye translucency will be only in the eyes. Ear translucency can be only in the ear. Nose translucency can be only in the nose. The tongue translucency can be only in the tongue. Now we have body translucency. It can be everywhere in this body. Because when we know the feeling of the sensations of touching tangible objects, we can experience tangible objects. That's because of body translucency. For example, when somebody touch our eyes, or when we ourselves touch our eyes, we can feel hardness or softness or anything because of body translucency. In the ear also, we have body translucency. In the nose, we all have body translucency. In the tongue, we also have body translucency. It can be everywhere, all over the body. In the heart, in any body parts, there will be body translucency. So body translucency is impinged by tangible objects. You may remember when we talk about ultimate materiality in my previous talk. That means when I was in Singapore, I have explained the one. A tangible objects is only 3 elements. The one is like a earth element, fire element, and wind element. These 3 are called tangible objects. So here we have to know body translucency is impinged by tangible objects. Also, it can be the foundations of body to mental process. Also, we can also say like a body consciousness. So these are called 5 translucence clusters. In this body, only we have 5 translucency, not more than that. Then again, we have heart materialities. Yes, we have heart materialities. There's a blood in the heart. In the blood, there's a heart materialities. This is also produced by karma. When we have, you may know, we have very good karma, we have a very good heart, right? We are very kind. We are very nice. If we don't have very good heart, we are not very nice. So, according to Buddha's teaching, the mind will arise depending on heart materialities. That means the rupa kalapas, equal rupa kalapas in the hearts. There's the heart. There's the blood. So depending on all these materialities, one of these materialities, the consciousness will arise. So this is called heart materialities. So here, we have to add a few more. That is sex materialities. We have 2 types of sex materialities. This is female sex materialities and male sex materialities. So this materiality will make men and women different. So this is called, here we have, female sex materialities. This materiality can arise only in female. Then male sex materiality, this one will arise in male. So in all these materiality, there are 10 types of, in all these klapas, right? For example, like a translucency, this is also a klapas. There will be 10. 4 elements, the color, the smell, the flavor, nutritive essence, altogether 8. After that, life faculty, 9. After that, iron translucency, 10. Similarly, in air translucency, 4 elements, the color, the smell, the flavor, the nutritive essence, life faculty. After that, air translucency, altogether 10 materiality in the clusters, in that particle. Similarly, you can also understand no translucency, time translucency, and body translucency. As we have already talked about body translucency, it can rise everywhere in this body. Heart materiality can arise only in the heart. And similarly, we have to also have to understand many other rupa kalapas. Here, for example, female submaterialities, it can rise all over the body because we have different behavior, different appearance because of these materialities. Male submateriality, it can be all over the body because we have different behavior, different appearance. Then all these kalapas are called decade kalapas. Altogether 10 materiality in one kalapas. So among the karma born materialities, we have the last one, life faculty. Without any other kalapas, only 9. This is also called karma produced materialities. How can we know that is produced by karma or other causes? So we have to understand very simply that is, if there's a life faculty, it's a karma produced materialities. If there's no life faculty, it's just produced by other materiality, other causes. So, in brief, karma born materialities can be counted: eye translucency, ear translucency, nose translucency, tongue translucency, body translucency, heart materiality. Altogether 6. After that, female sex materialities, male sex materiality, after that, life faculty. And as 9, that's what we call life non-kalapas. So altogether, there are 9 types of karma-produced kalapas in this body. Then we have the next group. Okay, altogether 9 rupa kalapas in this body. These are called karma-produced materialities. The next group, mind-born materialities. Some of the kalapas or materialities are produced by mind or consciousness. So as we have explained before, there will be 8 materiality as the basics. This is very simple, right? Then again, we have to know, this is called pure otic kalapas. Among the mind-born materiality, the smallest group is only 8. That's what we call pure otic kalapas, pure otic particles. So it cannot be translucent kalapas. It must be untranslucent kalapas. So even heart materialities, even in karma-born materiality, right? Heart materialities, sex materialities, and life non-kalapas are untranslucent kalapas. Now here, mind-born materiality are untranslucent. It cannot be translucent. Then again here, bodily intimation. Yes, we have different behavior. Because of our body gestures, people can know what's our inner desire. This is called bodily intimation. If we blink our eyes, what's the meaning of it? If we shake our heads, people can know what's our inner desire. Right? If we nod our head also, people can know our desire. It depends on our bodily movement. Then people can sense or know what we want, what we need, what we wish to say. This is called bodily intimation. So, to show our desire, we have to move our body. Because of wind element, we can move. Or maybe we can stretch our hands, we can bend our hands because of wind element. We can shake our head, we can also nod our head because of wind element. We can blink our eyes because of wind element. So, first, the mind will produce the wind will produce the movement. This is called bodily intimation. So, if there's bodily intimation, the next one is bodily intimation, non-kalapas. This is also called produced by mind or produced by consciousness. Then again, we have bhava intimation. Yeah, when we speak something, it depends on the tone. If we can know or understand, although we say the same about yes. If we just say normally or politely, this means we agree. If we say yes with very high tone, that means we disagree or we dislike. Similarly, no or no, because of our way of speaking, people can understand different. If we just no only one time, that's normal, right? If we say no, that means it's very sensitive, right? So that means bhava intimation, our voice is telling our inner desire. People can know our inner desire by hearing, by listening to our voice. Yes, we have already known that there's vocal cords around the throat, right? So there will be earth elements predominant karma brutal modalities, and also earth elements predominant mind brutal modalities. The two earth elements strike each other, they produce the sound, the voice. And if they strike very strong, the voice becomes strong. If they strike slightly, it will be only slightly. It depends on our minds. When our mind power becomes very powerful, it will strike faster, or it can strike stronger. So according to all these situations, people can know what's our mind. This is called bhava intimation. So whenever we talk about bhava intimation, there must be sounds or the voice. That's why it will be bhava intimation, Ditthivisuddhi. Bhava intimation and sound together. So that means 4 elements, the color, the smell, the flavor, nutritive essence, bhava intimations, after that sounds. Altogether 10. That's what we call bhava intimation, Ditthivisuddhi. Then lightness, etc. So, in every single kalabas, we have already said there's 8. But then sometimes, because of our minds, our body becomes very light. When we are very active, because of our minds. So at the time, there will be lightness. In Pali, we call lahuta, softness, mudita, kamanyata, wideness. So these 3 can arise together. When we have these 3, that means our body is very active. Normally, if we just move normally or speak normally, then no lightness, no we have to know these 3 can arise. Then there will be the Untitled Lightness Collapse. So 8 plus 3. This is called the Untitled Lightness Collapse. So there we altogether 11, right? Then again, the 2 decades bodily intimation collapse. How it become like this? So in body intimation, also when we move our body, sometimes it's very light because of lightness, softness and wideness. Because these 3 kalabas, 3 materialities in the kalabas, that's why we can move smoothly, easily, comfortably. Sometimes our body is not very active, or when we pay or something very terrible to move, that means no lightness, no softness, no wideness. So body intimations plus lightness, etc. altogether, it can be 12. Then this is called 2 decade kalabas. Then the next one is the 3 decades of Bhava intimation Kalapas. So when we speak also, sometimes Bhava intimations plus lightness, also softness and wideness. Sometimes we can speak smoothly, sometimes we cannot speak smoothly because of this lightness and 3 materialities. So if we can speak smoothly, then there's lightness, softness, wideness. If we cannot speak smoothly, then no lightness, no softness, no wideness. So that is why 8 materialities is the primary elements, primary materialities, plus our intimations, plus sound, plus lightness, softness, wideness, altogether 13. This is the biggest materialities, grouping materialities in the Kalapas. So these are produced by mind or consciousness. Then what about breathing meditation? I think we all have known that we have breathing, right? In the breathing, there's a sound. This is also mind-produced materialities. When we are unconscious, our breathing system is not normal. Or when we pass away, no more breathing, then no more life. The no more consciousness there also. Okay, the main thing is, in the breathing, there's the sounds because of blowing, the inhaling or exhaling, it will push nostril, or the wind will push nostril, it will produce the sound. Sometimes we can hear the sound. Sometimes other people also can hear our breathing sound. That's why sound on the Kalapas are 2 decades of sound lightness. So that means sometimes we can breathe in, breathe out smoothly. Sometimes we cannot breathe in, breathe out smoothly. It will be different. So this is called breathing meditation. Whenever we talk about ultimate materialities in the breathing, we must remember these 2 types of Kalapas. So in our breathing, there are only these 2 types of Kalapas. Then again, we have to move to the next one. Temperature-borne materialities. So some of Rupa Kalapas are produced by temperature. So here temperature means heat in this body. We have already talked about 5 elements. It can be in every single Kalapas. If there's 4 elements, there's 5 elements. So that means 5 elements can be in every single Kalapas. So this is 1 Kalapas. For example, in the Kalapas, there will be 4 elements. In the 4 elements, there's 5 elements. So heat and cold, one of the characteristics of 5 elements. So the 5 elements is called temperature. That means heat and cold is called temperature. So this heat and cold also can produce new generations. That means it produces new Kalapas. So in the Kalapas, it can be 8 again. Any 4 elements, the color, the smell, the taste, or nutritive essence and nutritive essence. So the previous one is also have the same 4 elements, after that color, smell, taste, and also nutritive essence. In the new Kalapas also, in new generation also, the same 8. They are also untranslucent clappers. In these new generations, I have already said there are 8. Among the 8, there's a fine element again. So that fine element also can produce, new generations, new clappers. So if this new clappers also 8 materiality in it, there are 4 elements: color, smell, flavor, nutritive essence. So in this way, it will produce many, many generations. So in our body, there's a bodily heat. There's heat and cold in every single clappers. So in every single clappers, it can produce new generations. It depends on the situation, right? Whether it's good, it will be more generations. Whether it's bad, less generations. Then it will produce new generations. Then we have temperature produced materialities, pure octet clappers. So this is only 8 materialities. Then again, there's sound lunar clappers. So, okay, the temperature produced materiality can be everywhere, like in the tree, in the plant, in the grass, even in the planet Earth, or in the universe. Everywhere there can be temperature produced materialities. For example, 2 branches strike each other, it can produce the sound. Then 2 leaves will strike each other, it can produce the sound. So that means, as I have explained in the karma project, mind-born materialities, when we speak, earth elements strike, right? In the vocal cords, it produces the sound. Now here, in the case of temperature produced materialities, it can be any non-living things. It can strike each other, it will produce the sound. This is called sound lunar clappers. So that means a materiality plus sound. So, okay, you can know the tree, the plant, why they grow bigger and bigger, because of temperature produced materialities. When the temperature is very good, the weather is very good, when there's also the fertilizer on the ground, then there's a water resource, then they can grow bigger, faster, because of temperature produced materialities. Then when the leaves, 2 leaves strike each other, there's nice sounds. When they blow by the wind, then 2 leaves will strike each other, and small branches will strike each other, it will make nice sounds. When very big branches strike each other, it becomes very noisy. Then here we have the decades of lightness collapse. So sometimes, because of temperature, our body becomes very light, very active, very smooth. Because lightness collapse means we can say lightness, softness, and wideness, as we have mentioned in mind-born materialities. And the temperature produced materiality also, it can be the same. For example, when a leaf falls down from the tree, there's a lightness, softness, wideness. That is why when it touches on the ground, not that much noisy. Very nice sound. When a branch falls down from the tree, it's very heavy, no lightness, no softness, no wideness. It makes very big noise when it touches on the ground. So it depends on different types of situations. There can be different types of grouping materialities in the clappers. So now Finally, the due decade of sound, lightness, etc. That means there's a sounds, okay, sounds are nice sounds, there's a lightness, softness, and whiteness. It's not very nice sounds, no lightness anymore. So it can be second types of klapas among the temperature materialities. So there are only 4 types of temperature materialities in this body. Also, in all over the world, everywhere. Then we have the next group, nutriment-born materialities. This is also our daily life. We have nutriment in every single living beings, living beings. Of course, we human beings need foods to survive. Like divine beings, they also have divine nutriment. For Brahma, they don't have very gross nutriments. They have only rapture or joy as a nutriment. So nutriment is also important in our life. You may remember in every single klapas, there's 8. Among the 8, the last one is nutriment, nutritive essence. So that means when we are going to eat, the foods in the cup, in the bowl, they are temperature produced materialities. In every single temperature produced materialities, there is nutriment. So the nutriment is only external. Before we are eating, it's just external. When we eat, when we are chewing, there's also temperature produced materialities. But when it go to the stomach, intestine, there are also temperature produced materialities. There's a nutriment in it. There must be special supporting cause to spread the nutriment all over the body. This is called life non-klapas. We can also say digestive heat, fire elements. So there is a fire element predominant, life non-klapas around the intestine. This is also fire element predominant. It can be heat or cold, anything. The digestive heat supports newly eaten foods. That means the nutrients in the newly eaten foods. I have already said temperature produced materialities, right? There's nutrients in the klapas. So that means rupa klapas. This klapas were, okay, this is the pure water klapas. Temperature produced materialities. There's a nutritive essence in it. So when the fire elements of life non-klapas, what we call digestive heat, supports nutritive essence. Then the nutritive essence can produce new generations, new rupa klapas. In the new rupa klapas, there will be only 8 types of materialities. So, in this way, life faculty, life non-klapas, fire element in life non-klapas supports nutritive essence and the newly eaten foods. Then all the nutriment-born materiality will spread all over the body. It can be everywhere, in the eyes, in the ears, in the nose, everywhere there's nutriment produced materialities. So in this newly produced materialities, it can be only 8 pure klapas. So in that klapas also there is a nutriment. This is called nutriment-born materialities. So that means supported by 5 elements of life non-klapas, then nutriment, the pure klapas, newly eaten foods, rupa klapas, nutrients can produce new generations. This is called nutriment-born materialities. it can spread all over the body. It can be, okay, many different types. For example, 4 types of oja here. Oja means nutrients. Kamacha oja, that means there's also nutrient essence in the Kama Brojo modalities. Then Chilita oja, there's also nutrient essence in the mind Brojo modalities. Uduja oja, there's also nutrient essence in the temperature Brojo modalities. The Haraja oja, there's also nutriment Brojo modalities. Oja in the nutriment Brojo modalities. So the Harja Rupas that spreads all over the body is also one of the cause. Then in every single body part, there's also digestive heat. For example, in the eyes, there's also digestive heat. So when we apply iron drop, because of that life kalapas, the 5 elements in it, it can absorb the iron drop. Then similarly in the arms or in any body parts, if we apply some medicine, because of this life faculty, 5 elements predominant life faculties, life kalapas, we call digestive heat, it can absorb the medicine, whatever we apply in the body. So that means, according to Buddha's teaching, digestion can be everywhere in this body. So it can take any nutriment from anything we apply into this body. So, how it produces? There can be 2 different supporting causes of these 4 types of oja. So, it can be supported by digestive heats and also nutrient essence of nutriment-borne kalapas. For example, Kamacha oja is supported by digestive heat and also supported by nutrient essence of nutriment-borne materialities. It can produce new generations. But here I cannot make any other slides. This is on the last slide. So similarly, Ditthivisuddhi oja is also supported by digestive heats and nutrient essence of nutriment-borne material kalapas that spread all over the body. It also can produce new generations. Uduja oja is also the same. It can be supported by digestive heats and also nutrient essence of nutriment-borne materiality. It can produce new generations. Then there can be many other types and external ones. For example, like temperature-borne materialities. It can be a little bit different, produced by temperature. But here in this body, living beings, we have all these types of oja. It can be all over the body. So now the last one, you may get confused. We have many limitations of oja. For example, if we have great nutriments, it can produce more generations. If we have less nutriments, it can produce less generations, like 11 or 10 times. Like 11 generations or 10 generations like that. So that means, for example, like the first generations can support, second generation also can support, third generation also can support, but the last generation cannot support anymore. It can be supported by others to produce new generations. That's why we have oja, Haraja oja, also one of the kalapas supported by another Haraja oja. So this is the basis discernment of ultimate materialities. That means this is fundamental discernment in brief method. So maybe we should going to use next week about detailed methods. So may you all be able to practice the Buddha's teaching through 3 trainings. Then by the power of these 3 trainings, may you all be able to realize the final cessations and no suffering, Nibbana. Sādhu, Sādhu, Sādhu.
The first question is for a person who has had jhana kusala karma, means who has this attained jhana before. With this kusala karma, can he, based on his aspiration, based on his wish, can he be reborn in Kamavachara world, Kamavachara Deva Loka, no? Even though he has jhana karma kusala?
So that means when in his near-death moments, if he didn't enter into the jhana, just enter into asset concentration, he can be reborn in the Kamavachara realms. It's possible.
Okay, Sādhu, the second question is, let's say there is a bhikkhu, but he has very bad, very inferior temperament, and he is not trustworthy, not just, and his conduct is not superior. Would that directly or indirectly affect his sila visuddhi, means purification, his pureness of his sila or not? This is the first part of the question. And for example, if a bhikkhu talk to, if a bhikkhu, the way he speaks and he acts is very casually, carefree, not caring with others, and also not trustworthy, even though he has promised something but not fulfilling his promise, even though he is propagating the Dharma, but this bhikkhu not behaving properly. But he say this is his habitual tendency. It should not be a big problem. The bhikkhu answer in this way. Okay. In simple means, would that consider, would this behavior of not trustworthy, not following this truth speech, means according to what he promised, he not fulfill, also have break some Vinaya rules.
Yeah, so that means,
and this that means if this bhikkhu argue that these are not his defilement, is basically just habitual tendency, would that be okay? So basically, this is the question.
Actually, breaking Vinaya and habitual tendency are 2 different things. We have to understand 2 different ways. So that means if we know there's Vinaya rules, we must follow it. We must practice it. If we cannot follow it, that's breaking, not because of tendency or temperament. Right? So we have to change our temperament if something is concerned with Vinaya. So another thing is, if behavior is very harmful for other people, that kind of behavior is not good for morality, not good for precepts. Another thing is in the question you mentioned, fearlessly talking, right? So there must be moral fear. If something is very bad, we must hesitate to do. If we do many things without hesitation, that means we have this more fearless, moral fearless. Then this is not really good results to continue his ordinary life. If there's no moral sharing, no moral fear, then there's many breaking rules and regulations. So according to questions and my opinion, this is not because of tendency or temperament or habit. Not because of habits, because of disrespect. We can say like this, right?
Manami, Sādhu, another question is, a bhikkhu, if he is invited to oversee to propagate the Dharma, and in order to propagate the Dharma, he might goes against with the country law, means the law of that particular country. So this bhikkhu, should he follow the way he should do in propagation of the Dharma, or should he follow the rules the law of that country and how to judge in between these two?
Actually, as a bhikkhu, we must follow both rule and regulation, Buddhist law and a country law, both. Right? That means, from my side, if some countries just allow Buddhist monks to enter, I want to go to the country. Right? So that means this is also their karma, right? But they cannot accept me, that's why I cannot go there. This is also my karma, anyway. So the main thing is, if there's a rule and regulation in their country, we have to respect their country, their law, then we should not go that kind of place. Okay?
Sādhu, another question regarding Paticcasamuppada. In Paticcasamuppada first method, there are this portion called Vijnana Paccaya Nama Rupa. Because of Vijnana, the arising of Vijnana, Patisandhi Nama Rupa and Kamaja Rupa arises. So he discerned the Vijnana through discernment, he knows Vijnana directly supports the arising of Patisandhi Nama Rupa.
Okay, so the question is?
And he also see the supporting force. So this is the first part, and from there, he tried to relate. How about Avijja Paccaya Sankhara? Avijja arises, for example, in the next life, in the past life. And then after Avijja, only. Then at the near, Avijja Paccaya Sankhara, and this Avijja arise after the Sankhara when he discern. Means Sankhara, for example, the Kusala Sankhara arise before. Then at the near that moment, Avijja arise. So how could he relate this Avijja Paccaya Sankhara since these two are not seemingly related to each other? Means not directly Avijja directly support the Sankhara. So in this way, how to discern Avijja Paccaya Sankhara in this situation?
So that means mostly Avijja can be the cause of Sankhara, right? So now your question is a little bit complicated. The last, for example, like you said, you mentioned, right? For example, like in the near-death moment, Avijja arises. The karma arises very early. In the near-death moment, there's a Avijja arises, right? That kind of things. So that means, okay, in near-death moments, you may recollect the karma. Maybe this is another new karma, maybe, right? That karma is produced by Avijja, possible, right? By recollecting. So in the past, this is karma, sure. When you recall it, this is new karma. When the new karma is produced by Avijja, this is also possible. And that was something to discuss a little bit in detail, not that simple, right? Okay.
Here is question 5. Vandami Sādhu, this question is related to Vipassana practice. When a meditator practices Vipassana while contemplating the arising and the operation of ultimate realities as anicca, dukkha, and sometimes a meditator may experience a peaceful state of mind. His or her mind may stop at a peaceful state for a long period of time without object, just still and peaceful. How does a meditator confirm whether this is upakilasa? Is this peaceful state considered as nibbana object? How does the meditator check oneself? Sādhu, Sādhu, Sādhu.
So when we are discerning Vipassana, just keep doing Vipassana. Don't follow any peaceful state of mind or anything. For example, like a tranquility also can be peaceful, right? So that can be the bliss of Vipassana. So as long as we can know the Nama Rupas, then this is good. Sometimes, we like peacefulness too much, the mind becomes blur. As we can experience in asset concentration. Sometimes we have concentrations, but when our effort becomes weaker and weaker, we fall into the bhavanga. This is also very peaceful. Emptiness, but it's not nirvana. If you follow like this long time, cannot improve anymore. That's why whatever you feel peacefulness, or just try to discern 4 elements on it again, just discern Namarupas, contemplate as anicca dukkha anatta continuously, keep doing vipassana. It will be more beneficial. Okay?
She'd like to know, refer to mind-born materiality, why mind can born material. With it, also look like to know if there is materiality born mind.
Materially born mind.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when or why, the question is, when material can, sorry, the question is when or why? What is the question?
Sorry, the other question is, since all the things in the universe are nama and rupa, so her curiosity is on mind-born materiality.
Okay.
So why mind can actually born materiality? Since mind and materiality are 2 things, rupa and nama. But here, mind actually can born materiality, means nama can born rupa. So is there a possibility that rupa also can born nama?
I see, okay. Okay, so we have to understand here, although we use mind-born, then we can say mind produces materiality, it will be much better. Because of the space, right? In the slideshow, that's why I just use shorter the vocabulary, right? Shorter term, born. Actually, I should use mind produce materialities. Anyway, so that means in human lives, like in living beings, in the very beginning of life, the mind and materiality will arise at the same time. Otherwise, we're going to say mind-born materialities. So materiality cannot produce minds, right? Because materiality is a materiality. It's produced by, materiality is produced by temperature, right? Temperature, and also like a minds and nutriments and gamma. So this the producing cause of rupa. What about nama? Then there can be associated mental factors. There can be the base. As you say, we will not say produce. This means like a rupa can be the foundations of nama. We can say like that. The base of nama is possible, right? Okay.
The next question is how. First one is how do we discern derived rupas? The second one is, can you explain how nimitta rise and cause? Sadhu, sadhu.
How to discern derived materiality? So derived materiality is, okay, we have like a, now, okay, even in this talk, I have already talked about like a color, smell, taste, sounds, right? We already talk about nutritive essence, sex materiality, heart materiality, all these are called derived materiality. So I have already explained how to discern that. So this one's another one. How, the second question, how nimitta appear, or what's the question? How nimitta appear, or what nimitta? Second question.
The second question is, can you explain how nimitta rise and cause?
How nimitta arise and the cause. What does it mean?
I think what he tried to mean is based on this rupa, how to explain nimitta, why nimitta can arise, because nimitta also may be a group of rupa.
Okay, I know. So that means, okay, nimitta is also mind produce materialities inside the body, or it also can be temperature produce materialities. Okay, so when we are practicing, focus on the breath, for example, in the very beginning, we just have natural breathing. We don't have the light anymore, the light yet. Now, when we have very good concentrations, the color of mind's produce materialities become brighter. It produces the light, right? Then it can be brighter. Then there's also the there's also like a 5 elements on it. It will produce new generations like Rujarupas, right? It also can be brighter. So that means when the mind becomes very clearer and clearer, cleaner and cleaner, clearer and clearer, the mind-born materiality, the color of mind-born materiality become clearer and clearer, brighter and brighter. So in every single Kalapas, there's also temperature produce materialities. Then the color temperature produce materiality also become brighter and brighter. And every single temperature Kalapa, there's temperature produce materialities. It can become brighter and brighter. Finally, it can become emitter around the nose, around the face. It depends on the object we practiced. Okay.
Next question is Bendy. When we lost in wandering thoughts during meditation, it's considered wholesome or unwholesome?
So wandering thoughts is, we can say this is unwholesome, right? Restlessness. So one more thing. So sometimes we will think about like a Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, that kind of things. And we can say this is unwholesome thoughts, right? Sometimes when you are focused on the breath, you remember to do something in your shrine room, or maybe do offer flower in the shrine room. Just reminding yourself, this is, okay, we can say wholesome mind, but not very helpful for meditation. We have to understand like this, right? That means not all the wholesome activities can have your meditation. But some of the wholesome activities can have your meditation. You have to understand two different things, right?
Hi, Bendy. For karma-born materiality, female sex material or male sex material. If one born as male sex material in current life, but his habit, behavior, and preferences are like a female, what is the reason cause for it? Is it due to his karma matured? Is it due to he ever against Panchasila in the past life before? Thanks.
So surely that one is because we can say Panchasila. We can also say like that Panchasila. Panchasila means especially like a Kamsamachachara, social miscontacts. With this kind of karma, sure sometimes the lives that they have to accept different lifestyles, right? They have different sex materiality. Because they are born as a male, but their lifestyle is like a female, different lifestyle, right? Because of karma, sure. We can understand like that.
Yeah, Sādhu, this questioner asked about this, the question just now, Avijja Paccaya Sankhara, this complicated condition, when he actually practiced this Paticca first method, and he noticed that his Avijja first arise, then only followed by, Sankhara first arrive, then Avijja. So because of this indirect causal relationship, how should he proceed to discern this Paticca first method?
Actually, this one should be very much in detail, right? So definitely in this kind of Dhamma talk, this is not very convenient to explain because I don't know your condition also, right? So now in this situation, I have to ask many questions. I have to ask many the process. There's many other questions, right? In the that moment, how you see, what you see, many things I have to ask. That's why the Dhamma talk is not very convenient to answer this question.
Sādhu, Sādhu, Sādhu. Thank you very much for your teachings today, and thank you our interpreter Bendy for the translation. May we invite Bendy to lead us in making aspirations and sharing of merits.
Yetavada ja'amehi sambadam bunyam sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe saddha numodandu sabba sambati siriya idam me nyatinam hotu sukhita hondu nyateyo idam me nyatinam hotu sukhita hondu nyateyo idam me nyatinam hotu Sukhita hondu nyadeyo, idame punyam asavakaya waham hotu, idame punyam nibbanasa pachayo hotu, mama punya bhagam savasatanam bhajemi, te sabbe me samam punya bhagam lavandu, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bendy, and everyone for your time and participation. Till we meet on next Saturday, may all be well and happy. Sādhu, Sādhu, Sādhu.